Network Entertainment.
Who's ready for story time?
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Let me talk to him.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Run!
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles.
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Czar, the NXT champion, and you're listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening...
And you are listening...
And you're listening
to the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
You're watching and listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stancy, Romoran, Chino Liao, Emile Nate, all checking in for our regular Thursday live stream. And we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to get to. And we're also celebrating Black Friday. So, ang dami namin i-remind sa inyo mga kapodcast. So, before we tell you about how we're going to make lason your bank accounts and your wallets, let's ask the guys, ano bang mga nasa wish list nyo for Black Friday?
I think I'll start. So I've been decorating my walls here at home. So I've been buying a little more posters. And sobrang ganda ng art prints on WWE Shop. Like the Shamburgers, they're really, really good. Like they're super good. I already started with a yung old school version ng Full Gear 2022 poster. I was actually looking to get yung Revolution 2023 with Brian MJF. But there are so many other posters that I want to get because they are a lot of them are pretty beautiful.
Wrestling wise, I'm looking to update my wardrobe kasi napapansin ko yung mga t-shirt ko parang 2 years old na at least. So maybe get new shirts to update the fandom. Outside of wrestling, medyo madami. Too many to mention. But in wrestling, t-shirts muna.
Alright, ako naman, again, also same t-shirts kasi ngayon lang talaga ako nakakakuha ng mga legit na WWE Shop t-shirts. Before puro bootleg lang, but I've been stacking up wrestling t-shirts as we go along here kasi like as a wrestling fan, syempre having a wrestling t-shirt and something for people to see you as a wrestling fan. So very important sa akin t-shirt. So that's what I'm just
so you want
up.
You want people to know that you are one of the weirdos in high school.
Now, you know what I was gonna say was, Emile, napakagandang segue niyan. Hindi ko skinrip yan kasi si Emile gusto niya ng mga legit wrestling merch, diba? And you guys, you also want your legit wrestling merch, and this is the best time of the year to get that legit wrestling merch because Black Friday is hours away. Bagsak presyo on your favorite online stores, whether that's WWE Shop, Shop AEW, Pro Wrestling Tees, even yung mga other brands na nakiki-collab with these big companies like Homage or Roots of Fight, nagsisibabaan ng presyo, and even Suplex, the one based in the UK, nagbababa din ng presyo yan pag Black Friday. So we're about to close this Black Friday pasabay run because we have to punch all of these orders in. We're going to do that tomorrow. So if you want to get yours, all you have to do is to go to our Facebook page, send us a DM, or hit up yung aming URL. It's tinyurl/ I believe it's WWP Black Friday 2023. I got that right. Diba?
So you can just go check out the Facebook page. It's right there.
Yep, it's right there. Yes.
Yeah, so go check that out. Nandun na lahat ng mechanics. We have yung service fee nakalatag na dun, all of the instructions, the manageable 500 peso down payment that you'll need And once we get those orders processed, they should be in the Philippines, hopefully about a week before Christmas kung sinuwerte tayo. But because of the backlog, they might get in probably after Christmas, hopefully before New Year's. So it's a great way to treat yourself, your friends, maybe even your significant others na wrestling fan, diba? So give them the gift of your wrestling merch through Black Friday. So that pasabay run closes in about a few hours. So get yours in now. Yung mga patrons natin sa Wrestling Podcast, they get special discounts because they are supporting the podcast financially. So if you want to be part of the many benefits that we have for our patrons, kind of like yung discounted service fees or the AEW Full Gear viewing party that we held on Discord nung Sunday, Emile can let you know how to sign up on Patreon.
All right, you can sign up and support the podcast at patreon.com/wrestling podcast for as low as $5 or 260 to 270 pesos locally in our local currency. And you get some benefits. Of course, like Stan said here already, the special rates on the service fees sa ginagawa naming pasabays. So if you want to join in on the next one, and you can do that, and you want para makatipid kayo sa service fees, and also support the pod as well. And also you get to join in on our Discord community, Discord server, where we just had the full gear watch party last Sunday. It was fun talking to people, and while watching the event, especially the Texas Death Match. So it was a whole lot of fun, and they can also talk to us and interact with us and talk to us about anything. And again, you'll also get the review content of the weekly wrestling shows courtesy of Rowan, ASH, and Raw, like Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, weekend AW shows, and some local wrestling events as well. And again, by subscribing to our Patreon, you're supporting everything that we do here in the pod. So again, it's at patreon.com/wrestling podcast for as low as $5.
All right.
Yun. Oh, yun yung taker.
Hey,
Yun.
yun.
Nawala yun.
It's
Hindi na bumalik.
We forgot we had a Chiron this whole time.
Yeah.
Si babyface producer Jasper ngayon lang daw nalaman. Interesting.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You learn something new. Ang sagot dyan is huwag ka na mag-resign ever, Jasper.
All right, one last plug. We've got Survivor Series WarGames happening this weekend. Please join us sa aming viewing party happening over at Hobby Stadium. The main show starts at 9 a.m. because daylight savings time has ended. Doors open at 8. Si Emile, he'll be there to take in your purchases for tickets. Siya rin yung bahala sa iced tea ninyo. Hindi siya mag-serve, siya magbibigay ng stub. Walk-in tickets available at 500 pesos each. So wala na pong early bird tickets. We're giving away prizes from Hobby Stadium and from Everybody's Toys and Collectibles. Pinost na namin earlier this week. Everybody's Toys and Collectibles, they're sponsoring a CM Punk action figure and a CM Punk t-shirt.
Yes.
Baka lang meron sa inyo mga delulu hoping na magpakita si Phil sa Survivor Series WarGames 2023. So pwede nyo suot yun, pwede nyo himas-himasin yung action figure para masatisfy yung pagkadelulu ninyo. But nonetheless, you can join us at the viewing party on Sunday, November 26. Again, show starts at 9. Walk-in tickets at 500 pesos for this year's edition of WarGames! All right, so let's get to some wrestling talk and start with yung theme natin na Thanksgiving. Chino wanted to bring this up earlier and so did Emile. So let's go around the room. We'll start with you, Chino, as the senior member of the podcast. What are you thankful for in the world of wrestling for this year?
Well, Stan, in my old age of 36, I have seen a lot of wrestling. I'm really thankful, first and foremost, for what I consider the storyline of the year, which is Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. Ako, feeling ko I'm one of the few people that still enjoy the story. I'm still enjoying it so far. Hindi pa ako nagsasawa. So I think that's the biggest thing that I'm thankful for. I'm also thankful that Kevin Owens, my favorite wrestler, was a former champion in the year of our Lord 2023. Nakuha nila ni Sami Zayn yung tag team titles, and for however long that was, I'm thankful for that.
All right. Ikaw, Emile.
All right, so two things I'm thankful for. First one is I'm thankful for you guys here, the Stan, Ro, Chino, Rowan, and the mga audience natin. And the people who I've met over the last year, sa mga events, sa mga shows. So y'all are really cool. You made my wrestling fandom a bit better kasi before I can only talk to one or two people about wrestling, but now I have a literal group of people that I can chit chat wrestling with. So I'm thankful for everyone kasi if I remember, it's gonna be I'm gonna turn since I became an ASH or a part of this pod. I'm gonna turn 1 years old. 1 year old, sorry, 1 year old as a part of this show. So again, so thankful. And second, I'm thankful that I got to appreciate, I guess, Will Ospreay more than I did the year before because he really gave us someone. For me, personally, some of the best matches I've seen from all over the place. So from NJPW to AEW and New Japan, and he really deserved the bag that he just got with AEW. So, and plus, just the fact that we have two existing wrestling companies who are thriving each and every week. So, because before there's only one, right? There's only one big company for us to talk about, to watch. But now there's so many alternatives for people and for me to catch and see. So, I'm thankful for wrestling this year. I'm thankful for everyone here this year. So,
Ikaw, Ro.
First, I'm thankful for everyone who has piped up in this chat kasi merong mga pangalan na hindi ko na-recognize.
Oo, daming bago.
Yeah, so yun pala kailangan
somebody here. Somebody here is looking for Rowan. So
yeah,
I guess he has
you
friends.
could go message him and say to get on the show. I mean, he's just busy working on mounts, right? So yun lang naman ang kinabibisihan niya. No, I'm also thankful for MWF. Actually, fine. Both companies are getting more content out there. It's actually what I've always wanted. Matagal na we put out more content and not just rely on yung live events tapos madalang na uploads on the internet. So it's easy for a whole lot of us, for fans, to find a reference point for all the work without having to go to all the shows if you can't, diba? It's also easy for us in the industry to clip ourselves, make highlight reels of ourselves and promote all our content and pasikat palalo sa internet, diba? Thankful for our TV deal. Minsan lang saying na may TV deal tayo, so that's pretty cool. And thankful for TPN as well because new path, new day, new chapter, if you will. He also gave us babyface producer Jasper, who is one of the best babyface producers we've ever had. Diba? So big things popping here in 2023. Thank y'all.
I echo a lot of the things that Chino, Ro, and Emile are thankful for. I'm also really thankful for each and every one of you. Yung nga, lahat ng mga nagko-comment, lahat ng nakikisali sa conversations natin about wrestling. And I'm really thankful that Triple H gets to continue cooking because it's such a highlight na kung sino-sino mga NXT alumni and graduates yung either bumabalik or napupush into a top spot na, in a different time would not have gotten such opportunities. So, I'm thankful for my jobs, that I get to say that wrestling is one of my jobs. Just a lot of things that we continue to be grateful for. So maraming salamat to everyone who keeps making the Wrestling podcast a part of your wrestling diet each week and for hanging out with us on Thursday nights like this.
May pahabol akong thank you, Stan.
Ay,
Sorry,
sige.
I just remembered.
Yes, Chino.
Top of my head.
Okay.
Just two things. Real quickly. Thankful that I got to see AEW live during the pay-per-view. Naalala ko lang today when we were doing the rundown. I got to see Double or Nothing live in San Francisco thanks to my brother, who I'm thankful for. The second thing I'm thankful for is that I'm thankful that they've gotten rid of CM Punk. We'll just leave it at that. But that is the thing I am thankful for.
Amen to that.
and the sound you just heard is half of our viewership or listenership switching off the podcast.
Maraming mga magagalit, Chino. Ito, may nag-comment lang. Tinatanong kung totoo yung return ni CM Punk. Ito naman, na-turn off tuloy si Riddick dahil sa'yo.
It's a Riddick.
Chino, nakakaya kay Riddick, ha? Okay, let's talk about AEW, CM Punk's former place of employment. And yung kanilang main event nung Full Gear. So, ang daming shenanigans na nangyari. Si MJF, he got taken out. and then he drove the ambulance, made his way back to the Kia Forum. Adam Cole was ready to wrestle despite clearly not being medically fit to wrestle. And then, MJF continues his year-long reign as AEW World Champion. So, Chino, what do you think about that main event? Were you satisfied and sports entertained?
I was very sports entertained. The ambulance bit was very attitude era for me. I guess they're just ticking off the boxes of things MJF wants to do before the supposed bidding war of 2024. Diba, trying to satisfy his wrestling bucket list as much as possible. Kasi kung totoo ang alis siya, then you wanna keep him happy for as long as possible. So I was very entertained. For the match itself, sabi nila overbooked. I don't know if I would say that, but I did feel that it ran a little long. It got a little too gimmicky, but it's still palatable to me. So I like. It's actually one of my favorite matches from the card. So more than the palitan ng bodily fluids, to be honest. So I honestly liked it, and I was very sports entertained.
Mm-hmm. At least dito wala nagmumug ng dugo, diba, Emile?
Yeah, that was gnarly. With this main event, yung na-mention ko na to ng pick of the week. Medyo sayang lang na they never got to the double reveal, which I was anticipating for the entire match. Kasi yun lang inabugan ko, and they teased a lot of they teased a lot of things in there. Na Adam Cole might be the devil, like he might be turning on MJF. They were really playing into that, especially by the end of the match. But I like it. Madaming nagsasabi online after that match that Jay White was buried, and I would like to debunk that kasi feel ko naman talaga ganun yung role ni Jay White. He is a very old school heel na he's gonna do all these despicable things, and all you want to see is to see him beat. So I don't think he's buried. I just think that's his role in this rivalry, and that's his role in this match. He's there, to make MJF an even stronger babyface. Kasi let's all remember, sobrang bago pa lang ni MJF as a babyface. So di pa ata like 6 months into it. So they're still trying to establish him as really what the top babyface in AEW. So sobrang galing nung performance ni Jay White because he was able to help establish MJF as really one of the not one, but probably a top babyface in AEW right now.
Taught you well.
Mm-hmm. Ro, I know you have feelings about people saying that Jay White got buried.
I've taught Emile well. I'm proud of you. Before that, I'll address a couple of questions from Glendale here. Saan kayo mas thankful? Kay Punk na pag-alis niya or pag-alis ni Vince McMahon? Siyempre yung kay Vince McMahon, diba?
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. I mean, Punk is pretty terrible, but the other guy has been wreaking havoc on this industry for decades now, for a whole generation.
Yeah,
so
mas powerful si Vince eh.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, like, a record business. Glendale also says, kala ko ba pili kay MJF? You ain't selling it during the match. Wow, man. This guy wasn't selling it. Damn, Glendale. Sige, pakitaan mo kami ng masterclass in selling the leg. I'm gonna injure your leg and you're gonna show us in MWF how it's done. Diba? Show us how you will sell the leg and how MJF failed to do just that. Come on, man. He was slow the whole time. There were spurts where, he ignored the pain. But when you actually get out there, I wrestled with a sprained foot after, taking a jump to the outside. And then I didn't feel it until after. So there are things like that happen in sports, diba? So to Emile's point, yeah, he's right. I mean, Emile's right. Na hindi siya, tawag doon, it's not a case of Jay White failing to defeat MJF. But tawag doon, it's a matter of MJF digging down deep and proving he is the champion that, he is. He claims to be. Diba? He says you're not on the level of the devil. He proved that there is actually a devil level that some people can't reach. Diba? So I'm gonna throw you the example of the flu game in the 1997 finals. Diba? Are you gonna say the Utah Jazz were weak shit because they couldn't beat stomach flu-ridden Michael Jordan, or are you gonna say that the narrative now is Michael Jordan was so OP, diba? Na he carried the team on his back and willed that Bulls team on that night despite being poisoned in his stomach, diba? So I think yun din yung pagkukulang ng storytelling around the match, not by the wrestlers in the ring, but by the commentators. I think a lot of them, not just in AEW, they fail to tell the story of the champion. In order to be the champion, may ibang pinaghuhugutan sila ng lakas, diba? So I think we don't often get to hear that nowadays. Kaya when we have sequences na falsy after falsy after falsy, we just treat it as okay. They're just no selling moves, but there is a mindset that goes into that. It's a big fight. You don't just lay down for your opponent in the biggest match of your career thus far, diba? That's what I think was failed to what they failed to share with us. Kaya marami nag-iisip na Jay White was buried, right? So if you're here listening to us thinking that that was the case, then you're not. I mean, it's wrong, but you can't be blamed for not thinking that. So naman, the whole thing. The whole point of the whole thing about MJF wrestling with the injury, the whole injury angle, it was nice. It was acted nicely in a if you watched in a vacuum, it's a pretty good match. It's a pretty good performance. But to me, it felt like acting workshop 101. Show the world you can wrestle with an injury and make them feel that you are fighting for your life with an injury. Like I don't think that was the place and time to do that. To show your practice, your performance, and show how good I act, diba? Because it felt the writing around it was so bad. Diba? The whole Adam Cole thing. Why are we letting the crippled man wrestle while denying the other crippled man the opportunity? Diba? So a lot of people were calling that out. Even Adam Cole's own girlfriend, who is also an employee of his boss. Diba? So when you get to that point, I don't know kung work siya or not, but when you get to that point where your own employee is actually calling out the illogicalness of your writing, then I think we got a problem here. Diba? So it was nice in a vacuum, but a lot of the questions or the decisions surrounding it medyo questionable.
All right, we'll take our first break. When we come back, we'll swing over to WWE and talk about some of the big highlights coming out of Raw and SmackDown. But first, a quick word from our other podcasts on the Pod Network. All right, we're going to start with the reveal that the fifth babyface to join Team Cody Rhodes is none other than Randy Orton. I mean, he didn't say the words Randy Orton straight away, pero all of the not so subtle clues and hints, everybody knew that the fifth guy was Randy Orton. And ito na rin yung bali-balita from the dirt sheets heading into this week's Raw. And there were also some people who were saying na this really was the move so people can stop saying na, oh, it's going to be CM Punk, it's going to be CM Punk. So, Emile, what do you think of this reveal?
You know what? It reminds me of that, I think 5 years ago when Seth Rollins, when they had that contract signing with Dolph for the SummerSlam, and then yung may, di ba, rest back ni Dolph si Drew McIntyre, and Seth Rollins said that you have a Scottish psychopath on your side, and then I have a lunatic in mind. Parang ganun yung dating niya sa akin eh. So, medyo corny, babyface-ish yung pagkakasabi ni Cody. But, they did reveal na din na it was gonna be him, and I'm glad that they did it kasi yun na nga, to avoid speculations, kasi hindi siya mangyayari ha. CM Punk will not be at Survivor Series. Just letting you know now so that you can set your expectations, people. So I'm glad that they did it right then and there, kasi it got a pop. Just the mention of him being the member got a solid pop from the crowd.
Di mo sure, Emile.
Yeah, I mean, I was no, No, the rumor kasi, well, the report rather was that they hadn't changed their stance on CM Punk. That actually doesn't say anything other than like in public they don't want him, but you don't know what happens behind closed doors. Diba? So I mean, I would like to believe na hindi siya darating, but I am not close to the possibility that it's all a work as well.
Mm-hmm. Ikaw, Chino.
Yeah, kasi I think I was half joking, but also half thinking that was CM Punk. Because remember how we said the same thing about Cody Rhodes? Now, granted, Cody Rhodes didn't cause as much damage as good old Phil here. Diba? Pero Cody Rhodes also said some things. The man also was responsible for WWE's biggest competitor today, which is AEW. So, and now he's in one of the main events for the show we're talking about. So, hindi ko inaalis sa realm of possibilities. Like Raw here. Is it a good move for the WWE? I don't know. Wala naman tayong purview backstage as to the goings on of the company. Pero as for me, I wasn't really the biggest CM Punk fan. And I'm still not. Kung lumabas siya, edi good. But I'm not crossing my fingers.
Mm-hmm. I really liked yung facial expressions ni Jey Uso when Cody was making the Randy Orton reveal kasi he was visibly distraught compared to the other three guys who were like, yay, Randy Orton! Like, you could see in Jey Uso's face, he done effed up really bad. And that's because there's a continuity na he acknowledges that he was half the reason why Randy Orton was out for a year and a half in kayfabe. So I like how this is another person that Jey Uso has to deal with, another person who will give him the consequences of his actions in the past. So it for the character ni Jey Uso, may accountability pa rin. What do you guys think about that?
I like it kasi that's a welcome change to the way they're telling stories. Na hindi ibig sabihin na babyface ka na you're absolved of all the sins you did when you were still a heel.
Yeah.
So, diba? So at least Jey Uso knows that, oh boy, I did this guy wrong before, so we may not be buddy-buddy with each other come WarGames. So may concern, may naiintindihan ko yung concern nung Jey Uso character na this is someone that, he had a part of taking him out a year and a half ago. So I really like, and I hope they address that during the match itself.
When yung sinabi ni Emile kasi, di ba sabi niya, hindi porket face ka na, tapos yung chapter mo. Well, that was always the case in the WWE before the Triple H era, di ba?
Yeah.
Kung mapapansin nyo, hindi naman tayo nagkakaroon ng flashbacks to actions prior to a character turn. Di ba? But now, it actually has effect on the character, which is nice kasi it shows na not everything is its own thing. It's not a vacuum for everybody else. Everybody can actually have your actions actually have repercussions, and it's nice to see that they're really incorporating everything into one cohesive storyline instead of pockets of story that we once got before.
You mean anime was lying to us? We don't get flashbacks? No, I just wanted to comment on that. Kaya siya ganun before. Kaya siya ganun before is because by a lot of accounts, Vince has a weird sense of morality, diba? So as we kind of know by now why it is or how that's manifested. So that's why he didn't think na, all of these things actually add up together and don't just get erased when somebody turns or heel or face, diba? So it's a good thing that Triple H is actually making it realistic, making it make sense, if you will. I just wanted to ask, now that we see how all the pieces fit together, at least in this particular story, may naging sense yung some decisions, like how Drew McIntyre didn't beat Seth in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys if does the whole thing about actions having consequences and then those consequences being made to light, does it make up for the decisions that we didn't like?
Oh, that's a good question.
I guess it's a way for them to sort of retcon, to borrow a comics term here, to sort of retcon yung mga things na hindi natin nagustuhan. Diba? It allows for them to have a different jumping off point from the story. Imbis na well, I can't really think of an example right now. Pero from what I'm seeing here is that nagkakaroon sila ng instant undo by doing that, by allowing us to jump to a previous story point and just say, oh, let's just go from here instead. Diba? It doesn't make it better, but it gives the creative team the opportunity to, actually give us something that we like.
Meron kasi for me, there's a very thin line between this is what we are planning all along versus we're doing this to correct something na we felt like wasn't the right decision then. There was a very thin line. And medyo blurred yun for me. Minsan di ko alam if kasi minsan they would look like geniuses, pero when you think about it, maybe they're just trying to correct something. You can never figure that out. As for me, minsan I can never figure that out. Kaya minsan when I see that something doesn't make sense, I would get on it. Kasi I'm speaking at that point at that particular point in time if something doesn't make sense. Di naman ibig sabihin na in the future it will or it might not, but that's just how things go, and that's another welcome change in the Triple H era, in my opinion.
For me, I think it goes both ways in the sense na hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na, oy, approve ako sa long-term storytelling pero magagalit ka na you didn't get what you wanted and then later on na pakita sa'yo na, no, it's because these consequences are still being laid out narratively. That being said, as you've already discussed previously on the podcast, there are also certain things na medyo kailangan mo na ng payoff, like LA Knight and his rise to stardom, or say Roman Reigns and where the Universal Championship is going more than 3 years after his reign began. So I think it goes both ways, but that's a very thought-provoking question.
Yeah, I just brought it up because the Drew promo. I think we'll talk about it in a bit. The Drew promo makes it make sense. Make the heel turn make sense. Make the loss at Saudi Arabia make sense. Pero in my heart of hearts, I still wanted him to win the World Heavyweight Championship, right? And then I could still see a version of this particular story in this particular chapter where Drew still won and Drew was still a dick and turned heel, right? So naman, it's more of those things that, yeah, I get it now, but I still wanted that other thing. But anyway, it's a thin line, as a lot of you have mentioned, and it's something that they are actively walking now. But I appreciate the fact that they are actually walking the thin line. Because back then, yun nga, as mentioned, ano lang, kahit ano na, anything goes, diba?
Mm-hmm. Sige, let's shout out someone from the chat. Go, Chino.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Good comms out, boys. Roman Beltran.
Hey!
Si Roman Beltran is tuned in on the comments.
What up?
Via the comments, rather. Pakinggan niyo yung episode namin that I did over the weekend with him and his co-partner, and his co-host, rather, si Loki. It's up on the social media feed.
All right. Thanks for joining us on the pod, man.
Yeah.
All right. Ro alluded to Drew McIntyre earlier. Let's bring up his explanation for his heel turn. So, in a nutshell, sabi niya, he will never forgive Jey Uso and his family because yung actions daw nila at Clash at the Castle took away his moment in front of his family where he finally gets to be a champion and to celebrate that. Kasi diba, going back to yung pinanghuhugutan niya na yung WrestleMania moment niya was in front of 0 fans. So, I thought it was a very compelling explanation, and it's petty, yes, but it makes sense because Drew, at his core, is a family man. Someone who's very proud to provide for his family, and the fact na hindi niya maibigay yun sa family niya was something he took personally. So, what's your reaction to that explanation, Emile?
Oh yeah, it makes sense. I like it because sometimes when turns happen, it can be illogical. Like they just turned for the hell of it. But with this one, you can see the motivation in his promo. Na I did, I'm never forgiving Jey Uso. I'm never gonna side with Jey Uso, and whoever is siding with Jey Uso is in my way. So parang in essence, kaaway na din niya sila. That's why I also like the fact that he addressed na he's not joining the Judgment Day, nor does he share their values and their motives. He's just teaming up with them because Jey Uso is on the other side, and they're he's on their pathway to whatever it is he's trying to achieve. So it's like you said, it's a very prize fighter mentality, and I like the explanation, and I like the third. I like where this is heading.
I like the reason itself. I would have preferred something a little bit more dramatic. Hindi yung nag-inner workings lang sila, kinausap siya ni Rhea Ripley backstage and all of that. I wanted to see like something dramatic na parang may hawak siyang chair, tapos may choice siya kung
Nakaw yung
si
sword niya.
So, ganun eh. Something like that. Because we're still watching the show at the end of the day, right? And yes, the reason is okay. It's agreeable. But I still want a spectacle. I wanted something a little bit more definitive. And it's not too late for them to do that.
Ngayon ko lang naisip actually. I just remember this. I think this interview or something that he did a while back, just before he came back in this particular run. Now he said that he wasn't going to turn unless there was a good reason for him to turn, because he wanted to be the kids' hero, like John Cena was back in the day. Still is now. And then I think they gave him a really, really good reason. They wrote him a really good reason to turn. And hindi siya wala lang, diba? Compared to Jimmy's turn. Diba? So, yun yung, yun yung what we know now. I mean, they're still cooking. I can see it. But right now, it's a flop. So, I appreciate niya na finish out talaga nila ng magandang dahilan for Drew, diba? I don't know if they spent a night in the writers' room coming up for that stuff, but it made sense. It tied into everything that's happened to him over the past year, and natay in din sa nangyari ngayon. Chino said that it was just Rhea Ripley talking to him backstage, pero the fact that Triple H likes to use the secret backstage conversation was just used then last Friday on SmackDown. It's one of those things. Okay, it's at least a little more work than we used to see. So, okay, then I enjoyed it so much. And then when I saw it, and when I saw the conviction that he had actually found a good reason to turn, nang hinayang na naman ako na natalo siya sa Saudi Arabia. Like, God. And then now we just have Seth being champion. It's just that, diba? So, naman, I appreciate this Drew turn, and I think it might go a long way in him re-signing with the WWE, kasi they gave him what he wanted, diba? I mean, it might be like the first step to giving him what he wants.
Yeah, for context, for listeners who might not be aware, yung bali-balita is that Drew McIntyre's contract expires right around WrestleMania 40 season. So that explains yung comments here about a possible contract extension for Drew McIntyre. In other news, sa Raw, we've got new number one contenders for the Women's Tag Team Championships, and that's Tegan Nox and Natalya. And all four teams were actually wearing matching gear. So that was a pretty fun sight to see here. Clearly, si Natty has been subsumed into the Tegan Nox universe, which is, I guess, it's nice, and it gives her something to do. Do Tegan and Natty unseat Chelsea and Piper eventually?
I kind of want to see that, actually. Even though, as of now, entertaining pa din yung act ni Chelsea and Piper, but I kind of want to see Tegan actually win something, kasi she's so talented, but she hasn't been given proper opportunities until now, which is I'm really liking ever since she went after Becky's when she was still the NXT Women's Champion, and then now she's on Raw regularly, that's a good step in the right direction. So you know what, I also, I agree with Eunice here in the comments. Give Natty her flowers as well. So the reign has, hindi naman kailangan mahaba yung title reign, but at least it will be a feel-good moment for me.
Naisip ko lang na if Natty and Tegan win the titles, malaki yung chance na hindi matapos yung curse ng tag team division.
Oh my, yeah, that's what I was about to say then.
Oh no.
You're talking about two of the most injury-prone wrestlers in the women's division here. So,
I wouldn't say Natalya is injury-prone, but then again, she's been doing this for over 20 years.
Injury? But at the very least, Tegan Nox, come on, she was out for almost a year, diba? For both her knees. So hindi, I don't know, but story-wise, apart from that very disturbing reason, I don't really see them unseating Chelsea and Piper. I don't think this tag team is as over as people think it is. It's a good tag. It's a good face team na change of pace and all that. But Chelsea and Piper Niven are still very entertaining, and the Karen in Chelsea Green is still very good to watch. So for me at least, so I don't think they'll be giving the titles to them anytime soon.
Speaking of not putting the hex on these women, why isn't anyone going after Fire and Dawn for the hex that they put on the championships?
They're somewhere else.
Kasi kung ako sa kanila, I would feud with them first so that, that the curse would be gone. Then I would go after the championships after that. Or, the champions can, go after them first. Diba? I was gonna say what Chino said talaga kasi when you first brought it up kasi yeah, it's not looking good. Like we love Tegan Nox here, but that love does nothing for your ligaments in the knee. So we don't know. I would do it for the Marvels tie-in, for the Marvels push, if you will, pero mahirap. Mahirap siya. At least there's something. At least there's some movement in the women's tag team division.
Mm-hmm. Last bit before we get to our Survivor Series WarGames predictions, we're heading towards a WWE Premium Live event in the era of LA Knight as a top star, and yet there is no sign of LA Knight at all on the card. So, do you think it's weird or off na wala man lang si LA Knight dito sa show na to?
I'm okay with it, honestly. I'm okay kasi that's the era that we are in. In the era of PLE na 5 matches, 6 matches, not everyone you could fit in the card. And I actually like when not every wrestler is in every PLE. So it's hindi parang walang umay factor doon. So I'm okay with. Plus, LA Knight is still over nonetheless. So no matter if he misses this PLE or not, he's still LA Knight.
Yes. I actually thought that he would be the 5th member kahit ibang brand. I thought they were going to do a one night only crossover for LA Knight. Diba?
Yeah, they did that with the women.
Because they did it with the women, exactly. So posible siya, diba? They could have found some story reason for it. I think it's a mistake for them to bench LA Knight in one of the big 4 pay-per-views. Kind of feel like they need to ride his coattails for as long as possible. Kasi sayang yung momentum na nakuha niya eh. Diba? He's still very over. People are still shouting yeah every time he comes out. So, sayang din na one night, wala kang makakarinig ka lang ng yeah, makakarinig ka lang ng random LA Knight couch phrase, pero siya mismo, wala. So, I think it's a waste of a superstar for this card.
Ito, Roque, pakisagot yung question ni Eunice, at what point does LA Knight's momentum start to chill if wala pa ring payoff?
Well, the point is when people, stop looking for him and stop chanting yeah, and, all the stuff that he says. So yun yung point. Pero I agree with Chino actually. I know that I've said that WWE needs a strong, or any company needs a strong editing hand. You can't run the same, all the people you want to run on these big events. Emile's right. Pero this is LA Knight as well, and you do have to exercise yung judgment mo in using your most bankable star right now in your big shows, diba? Logan Paul wasn't doing anything, diba? We could have just had him defend the championship against LA Knight. Doesn't mean LA Knight was going to win, but at least they were both on the card, diba? The guy people are raving about while still hating, and the guy people are actually really raving about and chanting his catchphrases. So, sayang yun. Yes, the WarGames matches were the draw, but there is still such a thing as being conspicuous by absence, diba? And when people are mad at Roman Reigns for taking the time off, you do have to keep giving the other gifts. And sayang lang. They'll be fine for sure. I'm sure LA Knight will be fine pagdating ng susunod na story na will heat him up once more. But I think this was also kind of a miss.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll get our predictions for Survivor Series WarGames right after the break. But first, another word from our other podcasts on the Pod Network. All right, this Sunday, we've got Survivor Series and it is taking place, for us dito sa Manila, diba, sa Hobby Stadium. So come join us for the viewing party. Meron mga nagko-comment sa chat that they will join us on Sunday. Again, doors open at 8 a.m. Main show starts at 9 a.m. So sana magkita-kita tayo sa Hobby Stadium. Again, walk-in tickets are at 500 pesos. Let's get to the card, shall we? And predict yung matches natin. We're gonna start with Carlito versus Santos Escobar. So, as we know, the story here is that Carlito is fighting on behalf of Rey Mysterio, who Santos Escobar took out when Escobar finally turned heel. So, Emile, who do you think takes this one?
Yeah. You see Santos. Kasi he just turned heel. You have to give him a win here. Whereas his heel run is going off on a bad start. So Santos here with the win.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree. Santos rin ako. I think Carlito can eat a loss. And furthermore, if they're serious about this Escobar experiment, they're gonna make him win and run through as much of the LWO as possible. Kasi sayang yung build niya as a heel if they don't do that.
Yeah, this is the layup. Santos, tapos nagkamali pala tayo lahat eh.
Carlito with the backstabber.
I mean, Santos did say something very reprehensible, diba? He hoped na Rey Mysterio would get an infection and then have his leg amputated. And that's not even the worst thing someone said on the mic this week. Right, moving on. We'll talk about that sa bonus episode natin. Women's World Championship, Rhea Ripley defends against Zoe Stark. So, Rhea is conspicuously absent in sa WarGames match that the Judgment Day is involved in because she'll be busy dealing with Zoe here. So, is Zoe the one to take the championship off of Rhea?
And also because she's a woman.
Well, yes, there's that too.
No.
There, go.
No, I don't think so. But I think they have to establish her as someone na kontrapelo ni Rhea, even though she will lose here. Kasi that's one of the problems with this current reign ni Rhea Ripley. Wala siyang kontrapelo on any of the women's roster. Raw lang pala siya. So, wala siyang kontrapelo on the Raw roster. Even sila Raquel, parang I feel like all of them are beneath Rhea at this point. So, Zoe is that person to rise up the ranks and be the one na talagang match sila ni Rhea Ripley.
Yes, I'm going to say Rhea Ripley as well. I'm going to echo everything Emile said. But I will say Zoe Stark, future women's champion.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm going to go against it. I'm a huge Zoe fan. I'm a bigger Zoe fan now kasi, Rhea became her already. So she's already on top. And it's time for someone else to ascend, diba? Sabi nga ni Emile, kailangan niya ng counterpart talaga. So Zoe is it. I've been a huge Zoe fan since she debuted on 2.0. Kung di nyo pa alam, if you don't know about Zoe yet, you should know. She's that good. One of the best athletes that they have in the women's division, maybe even the whole company as well. So I want her to win. Let's shake things up. Feeling ko matatalo yung buong Judgment Day this pay-per-view.
Ooh, hell of a prediction. All right, next up, Intercontinental Championship. It's Gunther versus The Miz. We have a lot to talk about here kasi nung nagsimula tong feud na to, it was a rehash of the talking smack argument between The Miz and Daniel Bryan all the way back in 2016. But now, the rivalry took a shift based on yung promo battle ni Gunther and Miz on Raw this week. Basically, sabi ni Gunther, he looks down on The Miz because The Miz is a mark who was able to weasel his way into the business. And Gunther even went so far as to call him Little Mike. Tapos sinasabi ni Gunther na, binuli ka nung bata ka? You weren't bullied enough kasi nandito ka pa rin. So I will bully you out of this business. That's basically what Gunther said. Right? So what do you think of this shift, like days away from the premium live event and how it makes both Gunther and The Miz look?
For me, this would have been great if it was the other way, if the situation was the other way around. And what I mean by this is, if Gunther is the respected, grizzled old veteran compared to The Miz, who's a young...
They did that already. 2010, 2011. That's what...
Huh? Kasi Miz is the veteran. Miz is the veteran here. And si Gunther dapat yung nag-try to gain Miz's respect as one of the veterans in the locker room. So it's kind of
the NXT Daniel Bryan and Miz feud. Literally that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, nga pala, they already did that, but that was before I was watching wrestling, so sorry about that. Pero yun yung na-feel ko while watching the promo. Like, this has been here, what, 15, 18, 16
Magti-20 years na, sir.
Oh, magti-20 years na siya. Pero
Yeah.
when you see, when I watch this promo, and if I watch that promo without context, ang akalain ko si Miz yung baguhan and Gunther is the one who's been there for a long time. I don't know if my opinion is as valid stuff on it, but that's what I felt. That's what I felt watching that promo.
Yeah.
That's why it was weird for me.
I think it was a mistake for Gunther to try and out-heel The Miz. Kasi nobody really likes The Miz, right? And that's the whole point. Diba? That's the whole point of The Miz. He's a heel.
Yeah.
Nobody likes him. But then to try and out-heel him, and by being a bigger heel, kind of doesn't leave anybody with anybody to cheer for. Diba? So kaya, sino kape natin? Yung kupal na binuli o yung kupal na nambully? Like, it's a heel versus heel state at this point.
No, you raise up a good point, actually. Kasi I noticed when they did this on Raw, yung biglang Gunther calls everyone weirdos, which I am not a weirdo, by the way. He was doing it kasi when they first did the thing a couple of weeks ago sa Miz TV, people were actually on Gunther's side. So, yun nga, kasi as Chino mentioned, yung isa, kupal naman talaga eh. Na, kunyari, nagiging face lang now. So, when Gunther's, spit all his bars against the Miz, people were agreeing with him. So they had to do something to piss people off. And going after the marks watching the show, that's the way to go. And I found it hilarious because they needed to do something, or else the Miz as face conquering face hero experiment was instantly dead in the water. And it's interesting that Chino now brings up the fact that Miz was still not cheerable, especially when he had to do a low blow to get to the skull crushing finale. So ano na. So,
I mean, to be fair, it's still very much on brand for the Miz's character. Like, he didn't 100% become a baby face, diba?
It's literally him stealing what MJF did a few days before this. A day before this, diba?
Sinabi ni CM Punk yan, diba? He called MJF a better version of the Miz. Or whatever.
Yeah, and then now Miz is stealing from MJF.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you guys this. What did you think about Michael Cole saying, "Yes, Miz, do it for us weirdos"?
We? I was with Barrett. I was with Barrett there. Like, speak for yourself, dude. I didn't ask you to call me a weirdo.
Thank you, I guess.
No, but it's funny because a lot of people will still cheer Gunther, even though they just got called weirdos by him. Everyone knows. Yeah. Everyone knows now, kasi, internet, Wikipedia, everyone knows now that he was doing that for the heat, for the reaction. So,
no,
can't fool us.
If anything, diba, he was going after the marks, right? That's the whole point of calling people weirdos. The marks that were cheering for him. Diba?
To be booed,
Marks that were cheering for him, diba? Calling them weirdos. If anything, magpa-pop pa nga yung mga yan eh.
Yun nga. Uy, in-acknowledge na kami.
Diba? Yes, kasama na kami sa kwento. That's right.
I did actually see this exact reaction. Na, yes, kasama kami sa kwento. So, ang galing ni Gunther. Ang galing ni Gunther, tinawag na kaming weirdo. I saw that exact reaction on the internet.
What's funny to me about all of this is that weirdo is such a tame term for Gunther to use. But like, he didn't even call anyone incels, as opposed to AEW, where the word incel gets dropped like once every 2 weeks.
See, LA Knight uses incels.
Yeah. That's right.
I appreciated him for that.
But yeah, like Gunther calling the fans weirdos was just like the tip of the iceberg in terms of how to really verbally eviscerate people. So, wala pa yun compared to like LA Knight or MJF when they use the word incels on television. So, sige, reactions here. Does Miz score an upset or does Gunther squash the Miz?
Gunther squashes the Miz.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, Miz will do the thing that he did last week in the 4-way debate. So just to prove that he can hang. I don't know if that's gonna change anyone's mind. I mean, I I respect
Go
the
ahead.
Miz kasi magaling naman talaga siya. And people just refuse to see kasi yun nga, he's a sports entertainer. He likes to do the sports entertaining thing first, which is no, you know, not a bad thing because you if it's what makes you money, then go for it. More power to you. Pero it's not gonna change the minds of people who have written off Miz as well.
Yes. I think this is an excuse for the Miz to get the Gunther experience here. Diba? Na parang to see Gunther, because Gunther's gone up against everybody except probably Roman Reigns at this point. Yung mga big stars na nandyan. Diba? So the Miz is like that last litmus test to see if he can really hang in the sports entertainment world, which is really something that needs to be proven if he does want to go after mga bigger titles like the World Heavyweight or the UWU Championship. So I think this is a good test for him in that regard. But I'm still saying Gunther wins.
Yeah, same thing. Gunter wins. For those who doesn't know, he's like 90 days away from breaking the most days. Yeah, the Pedro Morales record. And he said on the Masked Man show when he was interviewed that he can win any world title at some point, but to break that record is something that he really wants to do. So I don't believe that he's gonna lose a title anytime soon. So Gunter here will retain.
All right. Time for us to get to the big draws of the show. Start with a women's WarGames match. So it's Damage Control taking on Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Shotzi, and Becky Lynch. So start out with this question. What do you feel about Becky switching brands or hopping, over to SmackDown just to be part of this feud in this match?
It's fine.
This is my thing here. But we're talking about LA Knight not having a role in the card. Now, granted, yes, hindi sila premium division. But they were able to make room for Becky Lynch. Why couldn't they do the same for LA Knight? You know what I mean? Because is Becky Lynch still a bigger draw than LA Knight? I don't think so.
Baka hindi lang sila friends ni Cody.
Siguro.
Yeah.
Diba? But they could have easily written him into the story. Diba? It was, kung gusto may paraan diba? But then with Becky Lynch who gets pigeonholed into this roster, parang medyo pilit siya sa akin. Kasi she was
may history naman. May history naman si Becky with Damage
yes,
Control.
diba? But then again, this current storyline that's happening between all 7 of these women, Becky Lynch really didn't have anything to do with any of these women. Diba? Recent history shows Becky Lynch was over in NXT this entire time. Damage Control was wreaking havoc. Diba? So, bakit siya kasama dito ngayon? Because Charlotte gave her a phone call? It's all
No, I mean, there's history kasi diba, Damage Control took Becky out last year. She was out for 3 or 4 months.
I mean, I think we are not we haven't had that explanation yet, which is coming tomorrow, diba? On SmackDown. So, yun lang. Ang issue ko dito is they made a whole deal about Raw people being on Raw and SmackDown people being on SmackDown with Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce when Nick Aldis was announced as a new GM, diba? And then all of a sudden, pwede na pala. We can do that again, and then Cody's backstage again, diba? So, ano yun? So I think that's my problem with it. I think I didn't really need to see Becky here. Obviously she was used to help fill the show, help draw the ratings, pero I felt like it could have been easily someone else on SmackDown.
All right. There's also the wrinkle na si Io is basically the leader of Damage Control now. So you can see it naman sa kilos nila, diba? Dakota Kai is now acting as her translator, and si Bayley, she's being very paranoid, in denial, and I really love this new layer to Damage Control. Even though we have been seeing this, mas kitang-kita na siya now that Asuka and Kairi have been included into the mix.
I think this is like a step in the right direction towards if the direction is the breakup of Damage Control, is Bayley turning on everybody else. Kasi they really need to start ramping things up where the year is almost over, and then before you know it, it'll be the Rumble, and then after that, it'll be WrestleMania. So I think this is the step in the story in the right direction. Kasi at least it gives Bayley that chip on the shoulder that she's had before, but now it's at least a little bit more visible.
I like the may tiwala ka na Bayley's turning on all 4 women. who hit much harder than her.
I mean, who says na kailangan siya upakan, diba? Maybe it's one thing or the other. Basta you know where it's going, diba? So
Yeah.
at least meron siyang check.
I'm actually calling for the damage control to win. Why bring in all the Japanese women, all the Stardom women on the team if they're not going to win? So I'm calling for that because I have it ties into who I'm picking for the men's WarGames match.
I'm also going for damage control here for the win because they've just established this new damage control that they may mangyari with Bailey that that's going to be the catalyst of not really damage control waking up, but damage control throwing out Bailey from
ako din. I'm with the Japanese American connection here.
All right. I think everybody in the comment sections also in support of damage control taking this one. Pambawi sa kanila after they lost WarGames last year. All right, let's get to the men's WarGames match. This one is 5-on-5. It is the Judgment Day and Drew McIntyre taking on Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and a returning Randy Orton. So it's literally the Super Friends assembling against the evil Judgment Day and Drew McIntyre.
Team worldwide kasi international sila. I'll start. I picked damage control to win, so I'm picking the team babyface here to win. Kasi obviously, another heel faction is going to shake up, and Judgment Day has to lose para makick out yung lider nila in Damian Priest.
Same thing here. I'll go with the baby faces kasi it's time. It's time for the Judgment Day to finally pull the trigger on either breaking up or kicking out Damian, but something has to happen because that was my main complaint a few months ago, and I felt like they're just cruising up until a point where something big is going to happen. And now we are at that point where it should happen at this point. Like they've been gearing towards this event to do it. So this is the time now. So baby faces to win. Plus, with papasok na tayo sa WrestleMania season, if Cody wants to be the guy to be the one to dethrone Roman, then they have to make him look strong here. So baby faces here with the win.
I think the baby faces win for all the reasons mentioned, but also because it benefits Cody Rhodes' finish the story.
Yeah.
So if he wins, he can check this chapter off, move on to bigger picture things.
All right. Ito, this is a question that I just remembered that I wanted to ask you guys tonight. What if Damian Priest decides to be the first member of the Judgment Day and he gets Seth Rollins alone with him? Does he cash in? And how would that work?
They asked that sa Mass Man show, actually.
That is a
I didn't know, but naisip ko lang din. What if?
Wow.
I mean, he could because Seth himself set the precedent of a mid-match cash-in. Right? Then they asked the Mass Man show, what happens next? Does the match, the WarGames match, still go on as planned? Tapos na ba yung show kasi may match na nangyari, may nagpin na. So it's a weird mess, but if they really wanted to do something weird, they would try it. So I would do that. I mean, like you're in a cage together. Diba? The match hasn't started yet. If it's just the two of you. So why the fuck not?
Pero walang referee sa loob at that point. Or meron
no, bring him in the referee.
Yeah.
Nasa labas na naman sila, tagabukas at sara ng pinto, di ba?
Okay.
Tsaka may mga nakabantay doon sa labas, di ba? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
May mga nakabantay, di ba? I feel like if they do it, Damian Priest fumbles the cash in. He doesn't cash in successfully.
Yeah, but there's a whole other 30 minutes or so, diba?
Yeah, wait lang. So cash in si Damian Priest. Let's say for the 30 minutes na nag-upahan sila ni Seth, he tries, people pop kasi kala nila mananalo siya. The whole WarGames match ends without Damian Priest being able to cash in. And that's why they kick him out of the Judgment Day. Kasi they might go, paano ka ngayon? The fumble mo yung cash in, kala mo genius ka. Kasi hindi mo pala kaya. Right? Hindi na sila nagtagalog. But it might be a good way to tell the story. Magulo, but good.
sobrang kupal din kasi diba Judgment Day has the advantage because Drew beat Jey Uso dun sa advantage match. So let's say it's Damian Priest and Seth and then JD McDonough comes in kasi pinapasok na siya, diba? And then he goes for the cover as Damian Priest has cashed
Yun nga,
in.
yun yung isa pang question eh. If the cash-in happens, who is involved in the match?
In
Is
the
everyone
match, yeah.
involved in the title match?
So
did he actually
like,
cash in for everyone?
Yeah, diba? So can Cody pin Seth? Diba yun that happens?
Si Drew McIntyre pala yung or in that case, baka si Drew McIntyre, he wants to get back at
Diba?
Seth.
Oh.
No, screw that, dude. Randy Orton RKO's everyone. And then he goes for the cover.
Also,
Pinakamabait na pinakagalanting Mr. Money in the Bank ever.
oh yeah. Also,
Everybody gets a chance.
Multi-match rules ba to? So Seth doesn't need to be pinned to lose? Is that
Yeah,
what happens here? Diba?
So many questions. Oh my gosh. Heading
If
into
that happens, though, wow.
If I were Triple H, I'd listen to all these podcasts and say na, okay, we're instituting a rule here. Before
Bawal
WarGames,
mag-cash in.
bawal mag-cash in.
Papapasukin niya si Damian Priest sa office. Halika dito. Akin na yung briefcase
Hindi,
mo.
ano siya. Oh, yeah. Confiscate the briefcase. Oh, yeah, that's it. Confiscate the briefcase. That's it.
Yeah. So kayo, people in the chat, or if you're listening to this, let us know what your theories are because pati kami, di ba, we've been podcasting for years. We have no idea what's going on. We don't know ano mangyayari kung biglang nagkasaltik si Damian Priest at nag-cash in siya mid-WarGames.
This is gonna be
it's fun, though.
This is gonna be the WWE version of the Heel Season 1 finale. and the Heel Season 2 premiere. Season 2,
anyone can come in
episode 2.
and be champion, di ba?
Oh.
So let us know what you think at Wrestling2XPod on Twitter and on TikTok. Again, reminding everyone, Survivor Series viewing party this Sunday, November 26, at Hobby Stadium at 8 a.m. Go check it out. And we've got the Black Friday Pasabay run. It's still going on for the next few hours. So go check it out on tinyurl.com/WWP Black Friday 2023. Again, it is tinyurl.com/WWP Black Friday 2023. Bagsak presyo ulit. Yung mga favorite online stores natin for wrestling. As we begin to wind down here, let's get to some plugs. Chino, we'll start with you.
Yes, Comedy Manila, the premier stand-up comedy group in the Philippines, is wrapping up its year, but not before we give you one of a few shows left. This Saturday, we have the Best of Comedy Manila. Tickets are still available, although konti na lang siya. It's going to happen at the Kia Theater, New Frontier Theater in Cubao. It's all 7 of the Comedy Manila headliners. You have the Cool Pals, Red Oliero, Victor Anastasio, Nonong Balinan, Ryan Rems, all part of that show, as well as a lineup of Comedy Manila comedians to open for them. That's this Saturday, November 25, New Frontier Theater. As for me, I still have other shows for the year as well. December 5, I have a show in Cinema 76 Tomas Morato. December 9, I have a show in San Fernando, Pampanga. All the shows available at www.comedymanila.ph/shows. Also, the Comsat Boys podcast. Check it out. It is on the Facebook page of the Wrestling Podcast. Roman Beltran and Loki and I break down current wrestling news, as well as our wrestling fandoms throughout the episode. May konting video game talk then sprinkled in at the end. So yun lang.
All right, ikaw, Emile.
No, just want to invite as well. Again, walk-in is at 500. The Survivor Series watch party. I'll be in Rowan. Gonna be there. So yeah. So we're gonna have some fun and may mga pa-premiere from Hobby Stadium and everybody's. Sorry, I forgot the sponsor.
Everybody's Toy Store.
Everybody's Toy Store Collect. It's such a bad look for me. I'm sorry, but yeah, may mga pa-premiere and then watch Survivor Series with us.
Ro?
Yun, let's plug first our appearance. Stan and I appeared on the Title Zone podcast with our new friends, Kelvin and Nix. We talk about ourselves, our story on how we started the podcast, and our stories as fans, and our takes on some current stuff in wrestling. So just go look it up on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. They are the Title Zone, and we are the latest episode. It just dropped earlier this week. So yeah, look out for that. And also please head to Noche Buena 2023. It's happening in a couple of weeks. May tawag doon, general admission tickets pa at the Power Max Center Spotlight. All you gotta do is go to tickettome.net to get those tickets as well. And follow me everywhere, Shang.Daddy at Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and at RoseWar on Twitter.
All right. Of course, na-plug ni Ro yung MWF. There's the Action Novela TV show as well. Go check that out Mondays at 9 p.m. sa Rock of Manila TV. And if you're gonna be at Rakrakan Festival over the weekend, go check out MWF as well. We will be performing. Go say hi to the boys and girls when you see them, and cheer and boo na rin as you wish, depending on who you're rooting for, diba? Who you're supporting sa MWF. Thank you again to Julian who sent in yung congratulations message. Really appreciate it. If any of you happen to be at the PBA games and ako yung naka-duty sa game experience, sana naman kayo sa mga games. I'll try my best to get you some prizes pag nag-join kayo sa mga games natin sa PBA. So, I'll see you at the end.
Games para sa inyo.
Hindi ko sinabi yun. Sabi ko, gagawan ko ng paraan para kayo yung mag-participate. Yun yung sinabi ko. So, go check me out on Wednesday sa Araneta Coliseum. That's my next shift sa PBA game experience. As with everything, you can follow us at Wrestling Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, pati na rin on Spotify. And then, like I said, Twitter and TikTok, it is at Wrestling2XPod. Later this week, lalabas yung bonus episode that we just didn't have time for on this very huge and extended live stream. And thank you very much to Babyface producer Jasper, as always, for being at the controls and for everything that he does. Pati na rin lahat ng mga Babyface producers natin on the Pod Network. This has been another live stream of the Wrestling Podcast. On behalf of Romoran, Chino Liao, and Emile Nate, my name is Stan C, closing the books on this one and reminding you to stay safe, stay healthy, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast, out. Bye-bye.
Peace.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm